Yeah. So very good morning now. Yeah, I think you can hear again, everybody. So I will today talk about the agentic perspective in our life. Karen O'Brien says that if you get a very good kind of insights, awareness, many things, very good. That is the ground you are creating, a fertile ground. And you have also created a hope and optimism for future. Wonderful. That is what we need. But if you lack agency, your agentic perspective, then you cannot do much. And therefore, the agentic perspective on inner transformation, the capacity to take action and influence change, both individually and collectively, I bring that story to you. And since you had a global water crisis last time, I try to relate to that one. In fact, all those four transformative quality or capability that we can cultivate in ourselves to look at ourselves so that we can unleash our human potential to the extent possible. When potentiality becomes actuality, then you have created the quantum leap of creativity, meaning that you can really act. So this you can apply to all, not only to the water, but since we have the lecture on water last time, only as an example, we talk about the awareness. That means the developing awareness of the integrate water related challenges. You have to develop awareness about what is happening around the scarcity issue, the pollution issue, the distribution issue, water wars, many things that I talk about that, and also look at in a very state and balanced state of mind so that you understand the root cause of problem and see what is the connection, the recognizing the profound connection between water and all life form, all the hydrological cycle starting from yourself. I also gave you the short meditation in EDS 260. And also insight that we talked quite a lot in the last lecture, that getting deep insight into the root causes and consequences of water crisis is very, very important. So it understand the holistic understanding of hydrological processes. Even in the Holy Bible, I have been reading, there is a verse which talks about hydrological cycle. Many things about radical interdependence in Buddhism talks about that one, and Hinduism and many. And of course, purpose, we are goal-seeking entity. Cultivating a sense of purpose in addressing global water challenges is transformative. Okay, it goes beyond individual or local interest and encompasses a commitment, not only a cognitive commitment, but effective commitment, and more importantly, cognitive. That means to take action with the agency that I'm going to talk to you today. That means empowering individual, community, and nation with agency to take action is key. This involves all this kind of mobilization, your inner resources, intellectual resources. You need to do a creative activation of not only the intellectual capability that you get it from the university, but also the psychological agency, social agency, and most importantly today, because of the justice issue, more ethical and moral agency. So that means that you are human being, you are different from animal. In which way? You see, look at in the history of your evolution. Hello? You? No, no, no. Okay, just let me. So, if you look at the evolutionary history, we have developed sense of choice because agriculture was not developed by the pig, wild pig or monkey and so on. 10,000 years back, it was our conscious choice, right? And also the sense of control, I mean, that begins also over through understanding, through innovation and so on. And although the human being is small, is very weak, for a tiger or lion, the most easy prey they want to catch is the human being, But since we have that empowerment that we can control the elephants, although we cannot fly like bird, but we can fly in the sky through innovation. Time and space become smaller and smaller because of the, all the technology, cyberspace and so on. So we have that agentic power. So we are, and then this empowering oneself with agency cultivate also the resilience, adaptability, and a proactive approach in life challenges. But nature have a feedback. What humans have done through anthropogenic activity, they all are having a feedback. There is nothing like free lunch. And therefore, we need to act. It's not enough to have a bookish knowledge that I tell all the time. And therefore, in that inner development goal IDG, the last portion is the acting. That means driving the change. You are an actor, you are a change agent. There is a structure out there. The whole world is a structure for you. And then you have that, like in evolutionary history, how our ancestors survive and thrive and so on. And if some mistake has happened, if that is a human construct, we must have a courage and optimism to deconstruct that one. So the acquiring true agency break all patterns and generate a new and innovative ideas. Okay, and then I'll also give you example of that, of my courage, creativity, because you need to find everybody, as I told you last time, there is no spare part in the universe. You are so unique. So agency encompasses various dimensions, particularly in the context of environmental and development work. But at the individual level, acquiring 4 types of agency become important. This is my creative interpretation of many literature and many experiences I have from all over the world. Of course, in this world, it is a knowledge society, they call it. So intellectual agency, you have to develop it, right? Otherwise, simply by preaching, nobody will believe. This is how the world is, system is built. You also need, very many people are just focusing on that intellectual kind of things and intellectual property right and this and that. And when they lack the social agency, also it was not functioning. That's why any kind of particular participatory action research, this and that, many projects are failed. And therefore, we also need to understand how to build that social agency. Hello, sir, how are you? Can you also close that door for me, sir? You are so handsome. Can you give me applause? You have the agency power to close that door. Also, you need, of course, psychological agency and most importantly, ethical or moral agency. I talk about that, okay? And all these things, not one after another, simultaneously, as you grow and evolve in your life, okay? Progressive realization of your worthy goal in that journey. So let me give you my reflection or story, because you are doing your bachelor degree long ago. I was native of Nepal, but I did my bachelor degree in India, and this is my photo, this little photo. I am when I was in your age, doing my bachelor degree, okay? And it is a long journey to develop my intellectual agency over a period of time. And because nobody gives you project, even you cannot apply projects, and you have to develop all these kind of publications, so many citation, this and that, in my almost 5,000 citation in my career in that long journey since 1987 until now. So the intellectual agency can play a crucial role in driving positive environmental change by equipping individuals with the knowledge, skill, and motivation. This is because the structure is out there. Of course, you need to exercise your free will. But to begin with, this structure also can be, you have to follow that. You have to navigate your way, right? And this is the only way in academia to grow and flourish. Of course, people can grow and flourish in multiple dimensions. It's not only academia which is out there. You understand what I mean? So, but this is my journey. And then you have to publish all these 350 papers and then citation index and so on. You have to be like Blue, you have to do a doctoral degree and postdoc and assistant professor and associate professor, and I became full professor in 2005. So it's a long journey, okay? It's not a self-righteous morality. It takes time, but it happens. Originally, I remind you my last lecture, I am a son of a poor smallholder farmer of Nepal. You get me? And then, of course, you need to also read the book there. This is one book that we have done from Africa, combining very many different experiences. And this is another one that you also saw last time. And that is not enough. Once you have that kind of intellectual kind of agency, then you need to bring a critical mass around it in this particular example. And then we are training others, empowering others. I gave you my best example from Bhutan last time with many photos. Do you remember? And this is one of my PhD students down there. When she finished her PhD, how happy we are. And even I was wearing the dress of Bhutan down there. And of course, and then along the journey, we also learned that we need to have knowledge is a soft power. Okay, only knowledge is a soft power. That is also soft power in international relations. But you need to also hook with someone who have a hard power, like King of Bhutan in the upper picture. And of course, and then I also shared what we have done in Bhutan. He was also happy. He said that anything, something we can connect, he can connect with the right people, and it was a lot of them. And then like that, to make a story short, these are my former PhD students who have done PhD long ago. And I also learned from these people because they spend also, like me, 5 years in their journey, and then they will know much more than I do. But I am there because I have worked in a similar way to create a framework. And then these who, after I trained, I was the main, by the way, all these, Bedmani, all these did their PhD from Norway, from here. And I was the main supervisor of all of them. And then they went back and started again collaborating with me, creating more projects and new student like she, for example. So I also became her co-supervisor, but she's again next generation, okay? Empowerment happened that way. These are my two PhD students from Pakistan. And in the reality, they look like this. And they also acquired their PhD, and also they are she's head of the department and so on in Karakoram International University. Both are working. And she's one of my also role models. She was my PhD student, Nani. But since we started getting more projects, and we are putting this, empowerment and so on in a context where let her also learn in developing country how to organize network, how to run project. And she became the captain of that one of the project where we are partners. So she was my boss. She was my PhD student and she became my boss, and all this team behind her working, including me. And she's another example. I have many story and learning. And she in Nepal, she is also bringing this personal transformation and meditation in the classroom, and I'm so happy to work. She has not finished, she's finishing this year. And again, now the male, turn of male, many male. This is from Bhutan, my another PhD student who is there. And these are again, you see my first generation in the backside, and then and the first row there, the second generation, and they were extreme. These are other PhD student, and we can go on and go on. And this is another PhD student from, and they are in the leadership position like that. And this is my another PhD student from Western Balkan, from Bosnia, and also I'm going to Africa now. Now the thing is that Moses finished his PhD with me here in Norway, and now from the same institution, 5 years down the line, the one which is in the middle, Austin, who is doing PhD. Now Moses is the local supervisor of him, okay? And we both together, because I'm getting old. Do I look old? But by chronological, in few years I'll be retiring. But we are also helping this other guy in Africa, many other things. And it's also always a fun to work with the senior people like a postdoctoral. These are my two postdoctoral researchers, one from Nepal and another one Bhutan. And from all of them, I learn myself and go on learning, also empowering myself and others. So co-creation, okay, co-creation and co-production of knowledge. But what was my deep passion was, I was following that, although being to begin with a soil scientist, it was not mine. So in collaboration with the Karim O'Brien, she was also giving lecture for me. And I also learned quite a lot of things, although we didn't get so many kind of project. So I was going beyond my, those academic comfort zone and looking for little more work on the transformation, inner transformation and personal transformation, where she is one of the authority and my role model. Do you remember? I told you in the first class, this is one of my role model. And then with the idea of that one, and I am collaborating with so many other people from Nepal, from everybody. Although I was a project coordinator, program coordinator from this side, but this mutual empowerment is the key here. And also learning from real world scenario that you don't see sitting in the West and eating a very energy. But there are some of he's one of the best professor I have been collaborating. He stayed 20 years in the United States, but went back to Nepal, and he's my role model. And many, many, many years I collaborated with him, and with this, I really feel that although he's few years junior to me doing PhD, but he's my real guru, I tell you. Because the way wholehearted he organized the team, and then we are collaborating, publishing together is on parallel. Like that, everybody has a story. He's my major collaborator in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan. Here I wanted to mention that it's not always the intellectual capability or list of publication matter, okay? He was in the Royal University of Bhutan, and I learned a lot of soft skill. When you really act with the sense of compassion and friendliness, you don't need to be always very smart, understanding the biodynamic nonlinear modeling and this and that, blah, 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 blah. Like, American are talking about the modeling in the conference dinner, and as if they have nothing others to talk. Sorry to say that, but I was very allergic to when people talk about the numbers and this thing when they are eating, Do you enjoy that? You enjoy? No. But anyway, so a lot of soft power. And then I learned that, oh yeah, the power of social and psychological agency is also very important. And I have been using that one, and I also learned quite a lot from Balkan. Working with Balkans make me very resilient, because that was a difficult country. All these 6 countries which were fighting in the Balkan War, we are bringing them together. But what I learned from prior hand helped me to really develop that emotional intelligence beyond the call of my duty and work with them. So again, back to you are in the journey of acquiring the agency power. Beyond the realm of this academic world, as far as now, what I sincerely tell you is that your public engagement, your media appearances, making that knowledge, translating into public-friendly language, and communicating with them, with the politician, other people in big international organization. And media is a big informal powers. And like I was doing this one in national television in Malawi, another show in the Malawi, and also Western Balkan, and many things where I have been talking very truthfully that, okay, but thinking that not telling anything to activate shame on them. Because remember, if you say that, oh, you are not making development, this and that, and if you activate the same in other, you are corrupt, this and that, instead of learning new thing, it will short your learning circuitry. Read in the psychological literature. So by no means you should create a shame on others. Do you agree with me? Okay. So these are and even the community, when this is in India, there's a lot good story, good memory. They are putting this kind of thing, and it's a big love for me. And I enjoyed that one. But I'm very grateful to my intellectual base here in this university, okay, where this is my base and this is my mother institution anyway. So in agency, according to Christine Wamsley, this includes sense of empowerment and related quality, skill that can foster enhance cooperation and also meaning, action taking, all those kind of things. I'll bring a little bit of example, and also related to the quality such as resilience. Working in Balkan, Africa, here, there, when there is a drought going on, famine going on, in some country like in South Sudan, in Ethiopia, I was experiencing also war. It's not easy. You have to build your psychological resilience. And even, most important, even your private life, up and down happens, There can be 1,000 reasons of suffering because the Bible tells me that you have committed existential sin in the Garden of Eden, our ancestor. Just making joke. Or anyway, Buddha also said that life contains suffering. Okay, this is a fact of existence. Of course, it contains a lot of goody thing, but since our head works in a default network mode, suffering is there. So the social agency of an India. So you need, beyond the intellectual agency and all this dissemination skill, you need other kind of social agency when you work with the politician, the rural community, and this is understood in terms of our capacity to influence and shape social system. Because those structures, those political system is there. They will not dance in your command. You don't have any hard power. But you have a soft power, and you need to find a very intelligent way of doing to make a meaningful changes in the society. And therefore, whenever politicians were visiting our project site in Nepal, our current development minister of Norway, when she was visiting our success story on school gardening, and then how through the school gardening, there has been a kind of school feeding system was enhanced and so on. And I was telling with the example and so on, and she was extremely happy and so on. So all in all, you need a social agency, not only in terms of those social actors or agents who have the actual agency power, also those who are the weaker one, because you need a skill that can foster and enhance cooperation with them, and then it comes a lot of sense of compassion. You have to feel their worries, their situation. You have to put yourself in their shoes. And then for that, even these projects comes and go, but if you do beyond the call of your duty, different kind of work, I think They will remember, and then in the next time when you go, they will not chase you out. In many places, when just we are going and doing that survey, people are tired. In India, in some places, they are chasing away these people who go for an interview. How many times you come? Nothing has happened here, right? But you need to build some kind of social bonding and so on. And I was extremely happy around it. And also, my experience is that your sense of humor also matters, okay? Because you look at that literature, and if all the time, even though the same thing, if you say with a very serious face, this and that, it doesn't work with the community. You have to smile, make fun, and so on, but in a culturally appropriate way. Very important sense of humor. Do you agree with me, sir? Do you agree with me? It's very important. That sense of humor, you have to rediscover that because of the climate influences, these, that, and so on. Many of the closed society, like in Scandinavia, they lack that. Many of them I can see. I used to see, at least. Now the new generation are more open. Otherwise, even to talk to a professor when I was taking my master degree, I've hardly seen him. One of my professors smiling, of course. There were also other good ones. Okay, so in last 15 minutes, what I say is that disorienting dilemma will happen. You have to look at the global water crisis. You have to look at other kind of crisis going on, eco-anxiety that I gave you the example. And today, because of the information load, this and that, student, we all are a victim of all those things. So we need to also develop psychological resilience. So in one context, when I was working many years in Bosnia, I told you, he's my professor friend, Sabo. I think I show you that example in the other classes. There is worse drought. Sometime in Malawi, I was working, Malawi flood. This kind of, every year, the magnitude has increased. These extreme weather events that were coming 1 in 24 years, now they are coming every year and so on. So these are the things that you have seen. I did a disaster kind of studies in Pakistan with this PhD student Karamat Ali, and also published, because in Pakistan it's a every time new surprising way it is coming, and also in the Himalayan region it's even a very fragile kind of thing. Sometimes drought, flood, landslide. The village that I have seen with my own eyes in Gorkha district of Nepal, in just one earthquake event, what happened to that village? It became like that. And you can imagine, and also killing and so on. And I myself, I told you in the last class also, is example. So you have to develop a psychological resilience, which to increase your psychological agency power. So resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant source of stress. It means bouncing back. Things happen, something is not in your hand. What is in your hand to be resilient? Okay, that is in your hand. And to make it very short, this resilience required these attributes. If you summarize many publications, you must have a good social connection, and for that you need to have a social skill today. Attitude, value, I'll tell one by one. You see, the social connection. You all want to be happy in life, irrespective of where you are. But the longest Harvard study, so Robert, you look at this one, TED Talks, I think many million people have seen that. A longest one, to a story, a very short. You can, and happy people are resilient people according to several other studies. Weak people, unhappy people are not resilient people. Okay? And what contributes to happiness? After he followed 714 individuals from when they were 19 years old, all the way until they died, is one single word: relationship. And many society has that inbuilt without a proper solace, like in Nepal where I come from. Without you become social, you cannot survive. If you become sick, if somebody dies in home, there is no road, there is no ambulance coming like here in the class today. You have to have social connection and be compatible. The second one is the attitude that, oh, it requires little more deep psychological and philosophical perspective to think that this suffering too will pass away. This itself is impermanent. So this idea that, oh, this will remain, the COVID will remain all the time, that kind of idea, you should take it out. That too is impermanent. And also it's not only about me, but it's about everybody. And also this happens everywhere. Other thing is the value that I talk quite a lot. I will not go too much detail on this one, but faith is also those people, the study shows that those who are attached to some kind of faith tradition are more resilient. You know, in the Christianity, it is said 365 times, fear not, I am with you. Isn't it that gives you a little bit of psychological, if you give value to that one, isn't it? In Islam, it says that Allah doesn't burden a soul beyond that it can bear. Allah only gives you that much of pain and suffering and challenges, that much you can bear. That can, okay? Beyond that, it doesn't give you really. That's the wisdom here. And of course, Lord Buddha, from my wisdom tradition, say that life contains suffering, but you can always bounce back. The other factor that you need to keep is your emotional life, and there it comes, you need to be extra cautious. Emotional life. Whether you languish or flourish is determined by a threshold. Whether you languish in life or flourish in life, in your any life event, it's either the climate change related or your personal life, divorce, this and that. Because always negative emotions are so powerful that they drag you down. And if you have a one negative emotion that you are ruminating on, to mitigate the influence of that, you need 3 or more positive emotion. That is called positivity ratio. Okay, the one negative emotion that drag you down in your life, you need 3 or more. And finally, what I was telling, that the humor, you know, whatever happens, and I have so many examples. If I had a 2 more hour times, I have so many examples. But look at this poor, so-called materially poor farmer in Africa. Every time I meet him, I don't see him suffering. I myself see suffering, but not him, because he has so much sense of humor. It's another, can you see, always cheerful, you know, and make joke with me. And I also, when I'm with them, I also feel, you know, and then I come back in a very different state of mood. And my wife said, oh, what has happened to you? You become more cheerful now. You know, because emotional contagion, the science of emotional contagion, you read that one, many literature, okay? And also like that. Finally, also, of course, you have to find your agency power based on who you are, not following anybody, my story, okay? Can you close your eye now, just for a moment? Just for a moment. Just take 3 long, deep breaths. And just relax and attend to your present moment awareness. Relax your body. And forget everything what I have said. Just see the sensation. What kind of sensation for a moment. Take long, deep breath in and breathe out. Relax. So I will ask you a question. Just only notice it. Don't look for answer now. Just focus on what I have asked and just feel how your body feels. Just notice the sensation in your body. Okay, ready? Who am I? Ask this question, but don't look for the answer now. Just ask the question. What do I want? What's my purpose in the life? Just feel only. Take a long deep breath. What sort of contribution do I want to make? Just notice the sensation in the body only. Don't look for the answer now. What are my unique skills? Who are my heroes? Take long deep breath in. What is a meaningful relationship? What do I expect from one and what I give to them? You reflect this last one. What I expect from the other and what I give to them. Take long deep breath in and you may open your eyes. Okay, based on all these things, if you choose your journey, then it becomes easier. But always remember that what is your plan, what is your passion is, the life is not journey is not a linear, the reality is very turbulent and disorienting dilemma has grown. And that leads me to the last one, the self-worth. You need to know what the self-worth is all about. So according to the literature, the internal sense of being worth for the progressive realization of internal sense of being worthy. Uh, the performances that you have it today in the literature, if you look at, is determined by ability and, is equal to your self-worth. No, you have so many hidden potential in you that you have not discovered. And so you need to have an understanding of your strength and it will be unfolded over a period of your life journey when you get more and more insights and creativity. Problem is that instead of approaching being a little bit adventurous, the nobility seeking attitude, we try to avoid many things in relationship also, in this environmental work and so on. Many people lack growth mindset and of course resilience thinking also. They want to stay in the comfort zone. Just little story again. I'm sorry for telling my story. It is not a self-righteous morality, but how we are able to establish a Department of Conflict, Peace and Development study program, myself having a base here. This is one little story about how I was going out of my comfort zone, in the area between, I was leading project in both Pakistan and Afghanistan that time. And there is a Khyber Pass area where they say that the media say that a lot of terrorist activity and very dangerous to go that road from Peshawar in Pakistan to Kabul, and foreigners are not allowed, but you need to have a special permit. Since I was a researcher and I have a PhD student and so on, in that region I was allowed to go, and this is a journey. Now the Google say 5 hours, but it took 9 hours that time. It's not like that. And in the road, you can see that bombing, this kind of thing. Even the household are like a little, you see that how high are the war. And people were living. But I decided to go and see and experience that reality. Because if you don't look at the conflict yourself, well, if I would have been a white Norwegian, I would think twice, okay? But I look like Pakistani or Asian. So I thought that it is not I don't look white. So what should be, who will kill me even? They will not recognize me from the distance, okay? And then I decided to go there, but you need a special security guard and so on. And my coordinator fixed that one. And we are making that an adventurous journey from Peshawar to this kind of terrain, our car, and then even this became so friendly to me that he was also allowing me. He said that no problem, you look like us. No, nobody will happen. And finally, I arrived to Kabul. And then only I informed my wife, look at that, because I knew that she will react if I should have said it beginning. But I have so many other skills. Before I started in Pakistan, I also bought a small Holy Quran in English to keep it with me. And I also learned some of the Islamic verses. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, like all many things, this kind of thing, and learn, and also with a deep respect, okay? So if anything, cats, I say that, oh, I have a deep respect for your thing. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. And also, I also learned a song. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. That's, and then when I see in the Afghanistan, in the Kabul, this is again a reality. Learned quite a lot. This is a tank left over by the Russians and so on. So you need, and then it gives us a very much strength to develop a conflict, peace, and development studies program in Nepal, because that time also Maoist insurgency was going on. Sri Lanka, there was a Tamil insurgency was going on. And together with the help of a scholar from here, I have a respect for Professor San Mugaratnam, who was retired many years ago, together with him and other. And then we established a totally new department. And after later on, much later on, the stick came, and he also together with me, but I have to do the overall program coordination. You see, we are so happy. Finally, I think I'm talking too much about myself again. I'm very sorry. The ethical agency, a little bit about the embrace a strong sense of ethics and moral responsibility. You see, the youngster like you in Nepal, they say that, oh, Nepal is very poor, there's no opportunity here, we cannot be happy here, and so on. And then you have to also somehow motivate them. If everybody leaves the country like me, and nobody is there, I'm confessing, it was not a very happy story for me to leave my mother, my language, everything, but in order to develop my so-called aspiration and passion, I came here, fine. I'm happy with that. I don't regret that. But also, we should learn. And then I was using this, we have created a one short film that first time in my life, I was doing, this with the camera. They were filming. There's a 21-minute long film on that. And my role was to give some kind of, counseling to these students. We are saying that there is no, and this, I had a, but it took me, and these are the people, the student, okay? From there. So this is the film. These are, I learned from this young artist also. First time, I don't look very nice like that, because every time the makeup man was coming and correcting my face and so on. And I will never do it, I think, because in this age, for a 7-minute kind of a 5-minute, we spending almost 16 hours. The director was not happy, not happy, not happy, because I never have experience, but they wanted me in the film anyway. But I was very much comfortable to talk about this personal transformation in rapidly changing world, and I gave so many things around the world, and also to this, I thoroughly enjoyed in Bhutan. And again, this empower, and also really giving a kind of active reward and different kind of settings was a very kind of good experience for me. But I am giving some kind of mindfulness, a very starting level to you. I start doing that after my sabbatical, and this is my future goal: how we can bring some of the contemplative ideas so people will learn and educate and become. It is some kind of fulfillment and inner satisfaction come in the life, so that they can do work better. But what matter most is that what you see yourself, and also I shared this one with the one book to the my native country Nepal, who are just thinking about only going out, going out. There is a small book written in Nepali, and it has been there. So all in all, what I wanted to say is that if you want to acquire a psychological agency power in addition to the social agency and intellectual agency, you need to really nurture your self-esteem. Your self-worth is not what is determined by what you are now, okay? It will go on unfolding and you will discover more and more. So finally, this course in personal transformation, which also includes the mindfulness, we have started course in Nepal, and there's a curricula is giving one course in Kathmandu University and also in the Rouen University. Because all this thing was possible, you know why? Because I have acquired some agency power here through this journey. And therefore, okay, it's a big program in conflict, peace, and development study. You should learn how to establish peace in yourself before you peace the peace, right? And like that in other places around the world. So finally, but the reality is like that today, dear student. I told you my story with a heavy heart, really. A lot more need to happen. And I am in the autumn of my life and my career also. My next who retired, my next neighbor in my office. By the way, he has left so many nice books. If you come to the second floor in Tivoli, toward the room 222, where my room, in front of that, many nice books are there. And he said that you can tell your student, they can go and pick it is free. What book you like, you can go and pick. So this is the reality back to global water crisis, food crisis, many crises. This is happening today and now. So finally, sir, dear student, my brother and sisters, my children for future generation, I have been giving my creative interpretation of those 5 qualities, transformative qualities, which was written by Christiane Wamsler with my lot of creative interpretation. And these all are again interrelated. It doesn't, this quality are overlapping also, that I have been saying. And they are also mutually reinforcing each other. But you are free to make your meaning out of all these 5 lectures. You can express that one in your group work assignments and also individual assignment. Also find your way of inner transformation. Okay? Your journey is yours. You are the master of yourself. You are the master of your destiny. It's called Attahi Atano Natho, Attahi Atano Gati. You are the master of yourself. You are the master of your destiny. Seek and you shall receive. Thank you very much. From today onward, in the future lecture, except the coming one, which is outside excursion, I may be there. My dear friend, you know him. Lars Correa will be taking to different excursion. I'll be going to my official mission to South Asia for a month. So you will not see me. But 23rd of November, when first 3 group will present, I'll be there. Thank you very much. So you reorganize this one and we can have a group work. But let me first stop this recording, okay? I don't want this to hear by others.